Welcome back, everybody, to this, your Thursday night edition of the Tampa Native Show. Belated Happy Thanksgiving. We hope everybody's enjoyed all of the festivities. Get ready to settle in tonight because we've got a special guest in studio. Stevie, who's here?
Well, Richard Gonzmart, returning guest. He was here back in 2010.
And we are so excited to have him with us once again in studio. So get ready to call in as you always do with your questions or your comments. He's going to be telling us all about the new restaurant, Ulele. He's going to be telling us about Goody-Goody, which is just about to open up as well sometime in 2015.
Very good.
Call the neighbors, wake your friends, because the Tampa Native Show starts right now.
Otra vez. Come here. Let me say something. I remember Tampa, the way she used to be, the places we would run to, the faces we would see. Yes, I remember Tampa, those precious memories, a city rising on the move, a simple yet progressive groove. I remember Tampa, and she remembers me. Yeah. She remembers me.
Welcome to the Tampa Native Show. Stay tuned now for the fastest 60 minutes in cable broadcast history. Live from the studios at TBCN, the home of the Tampa Native Show. Join your hosts, Mario Nunez, the 15-Minute Girl, and Steve Canella, as they celebrate growing up in Tampa. From Shock Armstrong to Shakey's Pizza, from Braddock Street to Buffalo Avenue. Get ready to call in and tell us your stories, because sharing your memories has never been this much fun. And now, Mario Nunez, the 15-Minute Girl, and Steve Canella.
She remembers me.
Hi, Tampa Native Show fans. Here it is, Thursday night, 7 o'clock. Look at that. Steve Canella right over here. Sally Nunez, Tampa Steve, the 15-Minute Girl. I'm Mario Nunez, as always. What a pleasure to be sitting in front of you this Thursday night, especially as we have a VIP guest in studio just sitting off here to my right. We'll bring him in just a couple of minutes. You know who's here. Richard Gonzmart, fourth-generation owner of the Columbia Restaurant, but even more importantly, going forward, the new things that he's proposing, that he's going to be introducing. You know, he's single-handedly, I guess you'd say, rebuilding a lot of Tampa Heights and Seminole Heights, revisiting a lot of that wonderful history, reconnecting us with that wonderful history.
And preserving our history in the process.
And doing all of that. And, you know, that's what we do here at the Tampa Native Show. So when we get a chance to have a special guest in studio with us like this, it's special. It's extraordinary.
It's exciting.
If you're watching us for the first time tonight, thank you so much for tuning in. We're so pleased to have you there with us. This is the conclusion almost of our 15th season. In 2015, we'll be starting season 16. And by that I mean a season consists of 12 weeks of live shows. And we're into almost our 200th
year
live broadcast. So we're just getting started. We're just getting started. It's a wonderful, wonderful segue to tell you who we can expect to see on the show next week. Thanks in great part to Lynn Marvin Dingfelder, who kind of gave us a little heads up. Actually, Helen Cabrera. Many of you know that name who have lived here in Tampa. Tampa natives everywhere will remember that name. She was on the radio last Saturday with Lynn. I heard the show and I called in. Lynn was gracious enough to give me Helen's contact information. I spoke with her daughter and her granddaughter today, so she's coming in to do the show with us next week. 91 years young. I don't think she'd mind us telling that.
She looks great.
As she said it on the radio last week. And she's finally going to be able to give up the shop and go into retirement, but not before 50 years worth of stories that she's going to share with us next week. So stay tuned for that.
That should be a good one.
We hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving and you didn't eat too much, because you know that's something that can happen over
very
Thanksgiving.
easily.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Pumpkin pie comes to mind.
The pumpkin pie that we started eating a week before Thanksgiving, we ate all the way through Thanksgiving, equipped with whipped cream.
Yes.
My goodness.
All the trimmings.
Well, And now you see how it's so easy that at the end of
Yeah,
the Christmas
people gain weight.
holiday, starting in October with the Halloween candy, going through Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's, that's why January 1st, man, we get hammered with those Jenny Craig commercials and Weight Watchers commercials.
And we're signing up at the gym.
Gym
And we sign up at the
membership.
gym.
Exactly.
January 1st.
For
By
1
March
month.
the 1st, we've given that up as a bad idea. But you know, that's
We'll do it all again
That's
next
a rite
year.
of passage every year that we go through. And of course, on the 18th, 2 weeks from now, we're going to be having our Christmas show. And we're going to call our Christmas show, Christmas special this year, Meet the Crew.
Meet the Crew.
Something unique that we thought about doing where we give you a chance to hear from our crew members. So one by one, all of our crew members will come in and take a seat here next to us, and we'll get a chance to talk to each of them so that you can meet them and
That'll
see
be
who
fun.
they are. And maybe we'll get Mike Baluha to come in and do an interview with us as well. If not,
Or
we'll
bring
go-
his guitar
Maybe.
and sing a song. for
There
us.
you go. Maybe we'll get him to sing I Remember Tampa
That's right.
live in
That's
studio.
right. That'd be great.
Okay, here we go. Any of you out there that would like to see Mike Baluha sing that song live,
No pressure, Mike.
please send us an email. Stevie, give him that email address.
That email address is goodtimes@tampanativeshow.com.
And there's a little-
Goodtimes@tampanativeshow.com.
There you go. And there's a little story behind that.
Yes, there is.
Mike,
There is
Mike
a
is
little
in
story.
studio with us tonight.
a big story.
And that was a very spontaneous,
Shooting arrows at us right
impromptu, impromptu. But I tell you what, if you'd like to see that, we would too.
Put him
Send
on the
us
spot.
an email.
I would.
Also, Bob Carter, who's sitting off camera here and enjoying the festivities so far.
And we're
So,
glad to have them.
let's just say that we've got a little video we want to show you because we can't believe ourselves that it's been 4 years since this man has graced our table, but we know why.
'Cause he's
And
been
you'll know why
busy.
in just a minute too, because he doesn't sleep.
No.
been
2
very
3
busy.
hours, he's up and at it the next day, and away we go. Richard's been doing a lot for us. And Becky, let's get ready to bring up that video. When we come back, Richard will be sitting here in studio with us, and we'll get the show underway. Thanks.
That's when Tampa, everybody knew one another and the relationships, and you trusted.
Yeah,
each
well, you're
other.
part of the family, and we grew up there and took my kids there and had parties there, and I just want to thank you for all what you're doing for the community.
Oh, Fran, thank you for the call. It's wonderful to hear those memories, and you know, these families we go back many generations, and that's what this show's all about. Why I was excited to be a sponsor and be on the air and to recall and teach our children about the life that we lived, and hopefully that they'll understand what it takes to make a community great.
We have to do that. If we lose what we have, then it's gone forever.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Fran. Un beso. Thank you so much for
All right,
calling.
darling. Take care, guys.
Thanks, Fran.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
You can bring up that next image anytime, but I would like to interject at this time while we're waiting for our next phone call that we heard an interesting story yesterday as we were briefing for the show. Tell us again, Richard, the Babe Ruth story that you told us at the office.
You know, Babe Ruth used to live in St. Petersburg. He had a home there, and he used to come to the Columbia all the time during Prohibition. Prohibition was when you couldn't serve alcohol, but it seemed like the Columbia had alcohol. And Babe used to come in and eat a 14-ounce New York strip, and sometimes two. And he was thrown out of the restaurant for drinking too much. But Babe one time brought my grandfather a baseball bat, a black bat that he autographed, and we still have it today. My brother has it. I guess that's so he wouldn't get thrown out again, so he could have another drink.
Interesting.
You know, we talk about those tables could talk and the stories.
that's so true.
Babe Ruth and Joe DiMaggio and all the Yankee greats that were there, and you know what gave Tampa the passion for baseball.
And Richard, also, in addition to Babe Ruth and Joe DiMaggio, were there other players and other famous baseball players? And
You know,
football,
so many
right?
baseball players came, and I can remember when the Dodgers were in town. I wasn't here, but I remember hearing the story when Jackie Robinson was in town, and back then, you know, it was a problem. And my grandfather said he believed that everybody should be served, and they got him into the restaurant. We served him, and he was the first African American to join Major League Baseball, and he was one of the first to be able to come and enjoy dinner at the Columbia. We were proud to be part of that.
Well,
That's
I
a
think
great
that's
story.
I hope that can you hear me still, Jeff, out there? Because I'm going to speak up so that hopefully my words can get picked up on the other microphones. But that's what a lot of people need to understand about the legacy that Mr. Gonzmart here holds dear. That, you know, starting with his great grandfather, Casimiro Sr., a legacy of generosity has always prevailed where the Gonzmarts are concerned. And that family tradition continues even today. So, I mean, if you haven't been down to the restaurant in a while, well, what are you waiting for?
So Becky, there you have it. Thank you for showing us that wonderful video. That's our guest tonight. Without further ado, let's bring it up in the 4 shot. He's sitting next to us. He's He's been waiting, chomping at the bit to get on. Here he is, smiling. Everybody knows that man, Richard Gonzmart.
Hey, it's great to be here with you all again.
Thank you, Richard.
Thank you, Rich. Thank
Welcome.
you so
Let's
much.
have a fun night.
Wow.
Yeah, definitely.
We
I
got
think we
so
will.
much ground to cover. We've got photos, we've got videos. I guess we can start at the beginning, Richard. Why don't you, the last time
We're
you
gonna
were
start
here,
1905?
No, 1903. The last time you were here, we talked a great deal about your family. We showed pictures of your mom and dad and pictures of you when you were kids and Casey and just great photographs. Let's review that, talk a little bit about the connection to the Columbia, and then bring it current, bring it up to date.
My great-grandfather left his native country of Cuba with 4 young sons and not much money or education, but he heard about the opportunity in the United States, especially Tampa, Ybor City. And he came and worked hard and became the general manager of the Florida Brewery, which opened the Columbia Saloon on December 17, 1903. Everybody thought it was 1905, including us. That's until I missed the 100th anniversary, I found out. Thanks to Dr. Gary Mormino. And from there, that dream kept on alive, but every generation has faced challenges, and here came Prohibition, and my great-grandfather passed away, and my grandfather merged next door with a restaurant called La Fonda. Then the Great Depression, and his belief that he was making a difference in the community, shook hands, and with $35,000 built the first air-conditioned dining room. Well, today there's 15 dining rooms, and we have over 900 people working in our family business.
900.
Yeah, it's amazing.
That is amazing.
So, things have grown, and I can only wonder what my great-grandfather would have thought, and my grandparents, and if I only could speak to my mom and dad so they could see what's happened today.
They're proud.
Yeah,
Oh my
so
gosh,
I'm
yeah.
proud of them.
Yes.
Yeah, and they're watching over, and what we need to do, Richard, this is what I think we need to do. We need to figure out a way to go on a retreat to one of these places where, we can channel, we can talk to, you know what I mean? These people that do that sort of
Medium.
thing. Yes. Okay, we're going to set that up.
Could be interesting.
And we'll bring Mike
It could be
Maluha with us
interesting.
with his guitar. I'm just saying that. Okay, we'll do that. But what a great
Seems
legacy.
to be the theme of the
But
show.
along with that comes some responsibility. Now you
Yeah.
talk about that a little bit too. How do you carry that weight? You're a big fella, about 6'2", 200 and whatever that pounds.
Yeah, whatever that is.
Yeah, whatever. We'll leave it there. But I mean, talk about that responsibility because you've got daughters as well. I mean, this is a 5th generation coming up behind you.
When I looked at it when I was growing up, I said, gosh, I want to be a vice president of a company and possibly a president. But when I realized I was a 4th generation caretaker of a family business, not just the owner, the caretaker, preparing the next generation as my parents prepared me and my grandparents prepared my parents. And that's the responsibility, to make sure I make decisions that will preserve this family business because we have 900 people depending on me.
Right.
Yes.
Great way to put it.
So it's the way I look at it. Just here, and it's a family.
That's an awesome way to look at it, really.
When you look at the 900 people, over 23% have been with us over 10 years. In the restaurant industry, that's a long
Yes,
time.
it is.
But if you go to the Columbia Ybor, it's probably about 40%.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. And we
Yeah, I
know
would
that,
agree with that, yeah.
because
That's
Joe Roman, rest in peace. Joe,
rest in peace.
Joe worked for your pop, and he worked for over 50
58
years.
years.
Yeah, there you go.
58 years.
Wow,
there you
58
go.
years.
I mean, that says
A
it
long
all.
time.
It was a family. And Mike Maluha,
Mike's dad,
he
Mike
taught
Diaz
me
is-
the ropes. Yeah, he was my mentor, teaching me all about the dining room service. So, I mean, it's Joe Roman would start working when I was 3 years old. So, I mean, I had great people teaching me.
Unbelievable.
It must have been fun
You have some
running around
mentors.
the restaurant when you were just a little guy like that.
It was my playground.
Yeah, it was.
And I used to go inside the walk-in coolers and see the fish, and my grandfather sees me scared one day. He said, "What's wrong? ¿Qué te pasa, muchacho?" I said, "The fish were going to bite me." So he took me in there, told me how the fish were fresh, to look in the eyes, the gills, and press it. So every Friday night, that was my first job at the Columbia.
Wow.
Reporting back the fish were fresh.
What an education.
Great.
So I guess I have now, how many years is that in business? A long time.
A long time.
Long time.
Pretty good stuff.
That's
we
great.
are taking emails and phone calls as well. Your emails will come straight to Steve's laptop. Steve, give him that email address.
That email address is goodtimes@tampanativeshow.com. And Dan Perez sent an email saying, "Sing it, Mike Maluha."
There it is.
you go.
It's pressure's mounting.
Pressure's coming on
Pressure's
now.
mounting. We'll also take your phone calls in just a few minutes. Get ready to call in 813-977-6800. Darling, give it to him again.
813-977-6800.
The Columbia restaurant was more of a family affair than a lot of people realize. We have a picture. You have it too in your archives. 1966 wait staff at the Columbia restaurant, and there were sometimes 2 and 3 generation guys that were, and these were older men. Or my pop worked there at that time, and he was a young man.
Right.
But they had waiters that were there that were already in their 40s, 50s, and 60s, and they just stayed. It was a profession, honorable profession.
Truly professionals.
And they stayed
Yeah.
in the European and South American tradition of wait staff.
Right.
We had, in my neighborhood alone, I lived on Cass Street, on Carmen Street, just catty corner, I could jump the fence, was the maitre d', Luis Diaz, the Diaz family lived behind us for all those years. I mean, it was all around us.
Sure.
Mike Baluja lived a short bike ride away, so you didn't have to go too far before you met somebody that worked at the Columbia.
Yeah, I like to think about all those people that made the Columbia what it is today.
Right.
Serafin Martinez, who was a waiter for 47 years,
Serafin.
working hard, and after his shift at lunch, would go home to see his son play catch, play baseball, and put his son through college and law school. And retired when his son became the mayor of Tampa, and eventually Governor Bob Martinez. And Ramonin Lopez, at the age of 83, was the most professional server I ever saw. He never wrote down an order at the age of 83. Never used a tray. Always armed servers. Knew his servers by name. And his son tells him, "Dad, it's your second pacemaker. Maybe it's time to retire."
Wow.
His son was chief of neurology, University of Miami.
Wow.
Wow.
I mean, those are the
great
memories
story.
I have as a kid.
What a legacy.
Not bad memories, huh?
Oh, that's awesome. That's
Pretty good stuff.
That's amazing.
Well, that's the Columbia as a backdrop.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about the inspiration, I think, for maybe what we know today as Ulele. Now, we know that it was a project, a labor of love, but as we were going on the air, you started to kind of give us little bits and pieces, little gems of the backstory to what is the creation of Ulele. So I'm going to ask that you take a minute, look right into camera one, and explain to everybody exactly what was on your mind when Ulele came into your spirit.
It's an emotional journey. It was probably 7 years ago that I was with my wife, Melanie, my loving wife of 41 years. And we were in Montreal at German Shepherd Championships of Canada. And I went to a restaurant in a historical building on the water called the Queue de Cheval, the horse's tail. And we looked at each other and said, the Tampa should have something like that. Some of these beautiful historical buildings should be restored. And providing information about those people called Tampa home. Those Native Americans, those people that lived here before the European explorers showed up.
Yeah.
And so for 7 years, this was a work of love, on and on and on, looking throughout. When I heard that there was an RFP, that Mayor Buckhorn believed in the vision in Hillsborough River and looking for somebody to develop this building, the Waterworks building, that was 3 blocks away from where I was born at St. Joseph Hospital. Right up the street. Wow. And the next block was where my mother lived with her her parents, right on 7th and Central. And when I think about the spring was named Ulele after this Native American princess, the story says, in 1528, she saved a young Spanish sailor, 17 years old, Juan Ortiz, from being burned at the stake by her father. Not because they were cruel, because they were very gentle people. They were just trying to protect their lands. And Ulele, my children called my mom Lele, L-E-L-E. Was it a coincidence? I don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
doesn't sound like it.
So,
It was a story.
And to restore the pride in this once vibrant community of Tampa Heights, where my grandparents lived.
Yeah.
It's a mission. I'm excited to see that people are embracing it.
You're going back to your roots.
Boy, are they embracing
Boy, are they embracing it. We had the occasion just Tuesday because at the Tampa Native Show, when we bring a topic onto the show, we
are the investigators,
yes,
the reporters.
We take out our pens and our pads.
But I noticed you guys. You weren't undercover.
No, we weren't. We weren't at all. This was not one of those dirty dining exposés. And quite honestly, we walked in and said, "Excuse me, is Mr. Gonzmart in the house?" We divulged that we were on site and on property, and of course, we immediately were shown to a table. At that point, Sally got up with her camera and she kind of went around and took some photographs.
Yeah, it was
Richard
fun.
came over and explained to us some of the things that were on the wall and look at this and look at that. We're going to show you a video now that's going to be able to explain a lot of this to you quicker.
Beautiful photos.
And with images and with music that Steve put a little video together for us. Then on the backside, we'll come back, we'll drill down a little bit, talk about how that came to be. If you haven't been to Ulele yet,
Please go.
and I understand your trepidation. Okay, it's Tampa Heights, the parking, whatever, blah, blah,
No,
blah.
it's not.
None of that applies. None of that applies. And once you get down there and you realize where you're at, what this is all about, you'll realize I got to come back again because there's something special there.
It's magical.
Yep.
It is magical.
There's a spirit.
I
There's
would
a
agree with
spirituality
There's
to
a
it.
spirit there.
Yeah.
There's a
That's why I
spirituality.
go to pray so often, and I'm hoping to have a sunrise Easter service here.
No, you're not.
Oh, yes.
Oh, there you
I'm
go.
working with St. Peter Claver Catholic Church.
There you go.
It's
be
a very
darned.
happy place, too.
I think so.
Everybody in there was just full of joy and,
The amazing thing is when I pray along those waters, all those prayers were answered.
oh.
It's magical.
That
You have to see it.
It's hallowed ground.
You created it with love.
It's hallowed ground. Becky, roll that video if you don't mind. And when we come back, we've got callers standing by. We'll take those calls and we'll ask Richard some more questions about Ulele. Huh? Okay. Just to get the juices flowing, as it were, whet the appetite. Let me read to you real quick, and then we're going to get to our callers who've been patiently waiting. In 1528, Ulele, the young daughter of a local Tocobaga chief, Iriigua, right?
Very nice.
Thank you. I've been practicing. Pleaded and threw herself over 17-year-old Juan Ortiz as he was about to be roasted alive in revenge for the tribe's previous hostile encounters with explorers. Ortiz, a member of the Spanish Navarrez expedition, was spared. Whether love or pity prompted Ulele's action, we will never know. But we prefer to believe that it was love. Just as we prefer to believe that the all too similar Pocahontas John Smith story 80 years later is based on this one. So it just kind of gives you a little bit of a sense of the spirit of this wonderful facility. It is hallowed ground. I mean, much like we talk about Cascaden Park being hallowed ground for those of us that were athletes, young athletes that grew up in and around there. Al Lopez, of course, comes to mind. This has a very special chi, I guess is the word, right?
You know, it truly is. And 3 years ago, I set out to find an artist that could capture Ulele. I was speaking to an artist in South Africa, Sarah Richards, and speaking to an artist in Austria, in the UK, and Vic Payne in Utah. When in Peru, I met this young lady named Vala Ola, who was from Finland, grew up in Iceland. And my wife's talking to her, and she says she specialized in Native American bronzes. I said, it's not a coincidence.
No.
And so we set out to capture her spirit. And after the first of the year, we're going to have this 7-foot bronze of Ulele, where they're hand over her heart, hand extended, the courage just telling her husband, to her father, don't spare his life, I love him. That's what I want to believe. And you're going to have the water of the spring bubbling up. and a ring of fire coming up. Because the ring of fire to the Native Americans is their spirit.
Yes.
Their spirit lives on, and the water is life. So it's an act of love that I've been doing to try to preserve and tell the story to those people that live here and those people visiting our great
How about our history?
That's interesting.
Huh? Can we get a bell run for our history?
Yes, and you really feel
Absolutely.
the love when you go into the restaurant. And I'm not being facetious. I'm just saying.
There's a story behind every piece.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there
there
is.
My wife and I, it's our personal collection. And that sports memorabilia, Melanie was happy to see it leave our home.
Okay, I have a question for you real quick. If there's a story behind every piece, what's the deal with the 3 pigs up on top of the, in the cook's
The
area?
hood range? The range?
I can't tell you that one.
Oh, no!
You picked the one
Of all of those.
That's about the only one I can't tell
Oh
you.
my goodness.
That's good.
Well, let's go to
It's a closed joke.
Leave it to me. Leave it to me.
3 little pigs.
I love
Huff
them,
and I'll
by
puff.
the way.
Let's go to our caller on line 4. Caller, you're on the air with the Tampa Native Show. Tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Hey guys, this is David Benito calling from Davis Island.
Hey,
Hi,
David. Benito,
David.
how are you?
Very well, great show tonight.
Thank you.
With my family and the Gonzmart family goes, have been friends forever and ever. I've spent many a great meal at the Columbia. When my parents were around.
Sure.
And I cannot wait to hear the details of Goody-Goody. And I want to put out a personal plea that Richard, if you need taste testers for that.
I think there'll be a pretty
We're
long
assembling
line.
a goody-goody tasting team.
That's what I'd like to say on
Behind me.
Richard, I want to, all you do in the community, thank you, but especially for all you do USF, your involvement with what I think is one of the best baseball, softball facilities in the country. The plaza there is named for the family, and all you do for the USF community, the athletics, not only athletics, but the Latino Scholarship and the Movement College of Business and all that. I just want to, what you do for the community is just great.
Well, thank you. I'm thankful to the community that supported us for 110 years. It's what I was taught by my grandparents and parents. It's not about how much we can get, it's how much we can give back.
Right.
Because the community supported us, and so it's our way of saying thank you. Education is so important, and that's part of my mission, that and trying to help children that need their help.
There you go. Thank you, David. Thank you so much for
That
your
was wonderful.
for your call, and we know how much this guy sitting next to us means to you, especially where your family is concerned. So give us your Bolita number, because tonight we're going to be one lucky winner is going to win this wonderful book. I had trouble picking it up there. I almost
saw
my
that.
shoulder.
I thought you worked out.
The story, the history of the Columbia Restaurant, co-authored by our very own Andy Hughes. So give us that lucky Bolita number. It might be yours.
What is it?
46.
46.
46
46.
it
He's
is.
won with 46
Yes, he
before.
has.
Thank you, Davian. Thanks so much for your
Nice
call.
to hear from you, Davian.
Okay, guys, nice to talk to you guys.
Happy holidays.
Bye.
Bye-bye. That's good stuff right there. That's
Great
good
call.
stuff
That's a
right
good
there. Well, that's
start.
not a bad way to start,
That's
huh?
a good way to start.
All right, here we go.
Fun.
We've got a line open, so if you're waiting to call, now would be a time to call. Darling, give them that number.
813-977-6800.
813-977-6800.
That's it.
Caller, you're on the air with the Tampa Native Show. Tell us your name and where you're calling from.
My name is Bruce. I'm in South Tampa.
Hey, Bruce from South Tampa. How are you?
Fine, fine. I have an interesting story, I think.
Okay.
Ready?
Go.
In the early 40s, my mother and her friend came down to Tampa on vacation. Her friend's aunt lived in Tampa, and they were getting lined up with dates the 2 weeks they were here. They were at Goody-Goody in the car eating, and she got lined up with a date, and it happened to be one of my father's friends. And my father came up to Goody-Goody that night, got in the car with them, was introduced. The next day, my dad called the guy up to see if he could be okay if he called my mom, and they dated for the 2 weeks. She went back to New York City. They got engaged in the mail. And
In
when
the
he went
mail?
up to
That's interesting.
meet the family, my mother, she's kind of wacky, she forgot what he looked like, and she had a photograph of him.
Wow.
And every man getting off the train looked alike. They were all in the same uniform.
Oh my goodness.
And they met at Goody-Goody.
And that's how you got to be
Good
here.
memory.
I think I got to ring a bell
That's
on
good.
that
Bruce,
one.
that's a great
okay?
story. Yeah, yeah.
Just the fact that you would refer to your mom as wacky, that sold the story to me. Listen, Bruce, that is a good story.
It is a good story.
And we're going to get to Goody-Goody just as soon as we jump over the Ulele hurdle here. But stay with us, because good things are coming. And look, Goody-Goody, Ulele and Goody-Goody are just the headwaters, right, Stevie? I mean, there's much more coming downstream that's really going to be, I think, going to rock everybody's world here. Richard, he hasn't told us this yet. And I haven't really asked him, but I will in a little bit. I think he's just getting started. I think he's starting to feel his oats. And, you know, this whole thing with a give back, that's not any kind of a, you know, this is a heartfelt, organic eruption of, he's just doing this because he's got to do this.
Right.
Yeah.
So, you know, stay tuned, man. We don't know what tricks this man has up his sleeve. What do you got up your sleeve there, Rich?
I'll tell you later.
All right, give us your bulletin number, Bruce.
47.
47 Rose Boulevard. Okay, thank you so much. We appreciate your call.
Thanks for calling.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Yeah, no, you know, we'll get to it. We've got a little bit of time.
I've got 2 of the big projects going on, and I can't tell you about today.
Oh, boy. Stay
One's
tuned.
preserving history, and I think you'll know what it's about, but I can't tell you
Okay.
today.
Okay.
Goosebump
Can't wait to
City.
hear that.
Goosebump City.
Sounds
That'd be
good.
great.
Anything this man
It's as
does.
big as Goody-Goody almost.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's a foreshadowing.
Now
because
the wheels
when I
are
called
turning.
you, after it came out of the newspaper, I told you on Facebook that story got more traction than anything else. I mean,
Yeah.
people are just
Shared.
It was the most read article in the 40 publications of the Business Journal
Wow.
nationwide.
Wow.
And
you understand?
it just didn't happen. This was 9.5 years
In the making.
pursuing, trying to
Really?
buy it.
Yeah.
It was amazing. And so this happening.
It's great.
You finally got your man.
Yeah.
Klondike Cat, he always gets his mouse, and you got yours. All right, let's go to line 4. We've got a caller. We've got a caller waiting, but we also have a line open. 813-977-6800. Call now. Caller, you're on the air with the Tampa Native Show. Please tell us your name and where you're calling from.
My name is Augustine Fraga, and I live in Sefner, Florida.
Hi, Augustine.
Augustine.
Augustine's getting to be a regular
Yes,
now.
he is.
Our fans are getting used to hearing Augustine.
I've even got my brother watching it.
Okay,
Thank you.
great. Thank you.
What's your brother's name, Augustine?
His name is Patrick Fraga.
Patrick.
Hello, Patrick.
There you go, Patrick. You haven't called yet, but I'm giving you a pre-call ring. There you go.
A free
What's
ring
on
of
your
the bell.
pre-ring call? What's on your mind, Augustine?
Well, Richard, I know Richard from way back in the day when I was growing up in Ybor City, and of course, my father would sell cigars and cigarettes to the Columbia restaurant, and my father was the wholesaler for all the candy, cigars, cigarettes,
I remember those.
the place. And I can't remember the lady's name right now, but she sat behind there at the cashier, and I remember her, you know, giving the money to my dad after she counted all the inventory. And then my dad turned around and gave me that mission to bring the cigars and collect the money, you know, during that time, and I will walk back to my mom's house.
Wow.
And sometimes I'd have $1,500 in my pocket.
Oh, my gosh.
But nobody bothered you, did
It's a
they?
different
Why
world.
bothered you? You were safe.
That's right.
And
Respect.
that's what was so amazing.
Yep.
How Ybor City changed overnight, I would say, after '65. But I'm thankful that I had the opportunity to meet Richard's mother and father. I still remember the red convertible Eldorado, you know, and it was amazing. And also, you know, on top of it, the Goody-Goody restaurant, y'all mentioned it earlier, my father would sell cigars and cigarettes to them also. You know, it was just, this is just bringing back so many memories.
A double connection.
That's what we do here at the Tampa Native Show. I think every Thursday we bathe ourselves in these wonderful memories, and you know what? What better time to do it than right now? Because you know things are crazy.
It is crazy.
Things are
out
crazy.
there.
I mean, it's just crazy just getting in your car and driving from point A to point B.
That's for sure.
Is bananas. And so every Thursday we invite everybody out there in the community to turn us on and tune us in.
It's a time machine.
Is that right? That's
It's a time machine.
Tune us in and turn us on.
Something like
Either
that.
one of those two, whatever is comfortable to you, but watch us. Because you never know when we're going to say something, or you're going to hear from someone that's going to trigger and evoke a memory, that's going to cause you to get up off the couch and get your phone and call us. And
picture
those
or
are the
story.
special calls that we look forward to.
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing that with us. Give us your bolita number, Agustin.
My favorite number is 56.
56.
56.
All
I think
close
that's
together.
illegal.
Can I ask one more question?
Of course.
I remember them serving chicken vermicelli soup,
That's right.
and I can't find it anymore.
That's because
They
none of the
still serve
restaurants
that over
exist
there?
any longer.
Yeah.
You know, it was one of my
Sad.
favorites as well. Vermicelli noodles with the chicken and the chicken giblets. And you'd always squeeze a little bit of lemon in there, and it would just brighten it up, and I loved it. Even though I enjoyed that probably more than anything, it just didn't sell.
Yeah.
With the times, it just disappeared, so it maybe needs a comeback.
Oh, Agustin.
No.
Oh, now.
And Augustine, what I used to do as well is we'd put crack an egg in it,
Oh.
and then cook the egg
Yeah, I bet
inside,
that'd
so
be
like a
good.
poached egg inside.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh
sounds
my
delicious.
gosh.
I'm doing that.
Okay, taking us back. Thank you so much for your call. We appreciate it. We hope you win tonight.
All right, God bless.
Thank you so much,
you.
Agustin. Bye-bye.
We'll call it the Augustine Special.
Oh,
There you go.
Stevie.
That's
Look
it.
for it on the next cold day at lunch for special.
Huh?
There you go.
Giblets to
I
go.
think we're at.
All right, we've got a caller. Keep the calls coming. We love it when we get calls like this. And we'll break these calls in just a minute. Talk a little bit about Ulele, a little bit more about Ulele and Goody-Goody as well. See how Goody-Goody's playing tonight. Caller, you're on the air with the Tampa Native Show. Tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Robert Gonzalez.
Hey there, he is. Hey, Robert.
Hey, how you guys doing?
We're doing
Great.
I know that you want to concentrate this part of the show on Ulele.
Uh-oh.
But
But,
I am so glad that he's bringing back Goody-Goody.
man.
Yeah, well, you guys know I'm second generation native of Tampa.
Yes.
I'm 62 years old, and I remember on Sunday mornings when we all family used to pile in their car. My father used to drive the whole family to Goody-Goody. We used to, predominantly, we would go inside the restaurant every now and then, but we used to eat in the car, in the driving spot. And they had the best burgers that I've ever had. And before I had to quit driving, I drove over there, and the woman who owned Goody-Goody, her husband already passed away, and I told the woman that I used to come here when I was a little kid, and I wanted to know if the burgers were as good as they used to be. And I got two, and I sat down in those wooden chairs that looked like the school desk the old wooden school desk we used to have when I was in junior high school.
You're old, Robert.
And she told me, she asked me, are they as good as they used to be? I go, oh, yes.
okay.
You know.
Guess what, Robert? I
Prepare
have those
yourself.
gold table desk. I've got
Oh,
them.
no, Robert.
Oh my God.
I've got those desk chairs still.
Robert's going to cry. You're going to
It
make
is-
Robert cry.
It is a time machine.
Robert, tú estás llorando.
You have to reserve one for Robert.
And I've got the stainless steel aluminum chairs too.
Oh my
The
gosh.
spinners.
I got
You're
everything.
taking us back.
wow.
I've got
Hey, can
the
we
sign.
shave off the years too while we're going back? We'll just go back
You know,
to our
we're
old-
giving the old sign. I've got the sign. We brought it back. We're giving it a
We
facelift.
want to show.
have pictures, yeah.
Yeah, we need to show
my
a couple
God.
of those pictures.
We've got it right now being refurbished. It's gonna be about 3 months.
Oh,
man.
guys.
Listen, you know, I spent a lot of the day
Merry
working.
Christmas, everyone.
I spent 4 hours on Goody-Goody today.
4
working
hours?
on it. 4 hours working, and we tried a pie. You talked about pumpkin pie.
Oh.
We did a pumpkin pie with pralines.
Oh, yum.
And it
I
was
love
8
pralines.
inches high. And some people said, well, I don't like pumpkin pie, and I don't like cheesecake. They tried to say, you know, this isn't your normal pumpkin
Right.
pie.
No.
Yeah.
Or your cheesecake.
That sounds
And everybody
good.
was raving. So little by little, we're testing new
Oh my
items
gosh.
to go along with the old ones.
To go along with that butterscotch pie that everybody raves about.
We got that one.
We
down.
got that one. We had that one first. Oh,
Ho,
I'm telling you,
ho,
I'm telling
ho.
you.
Another Goody-Goody was their lime freeze.
The
Lime free.
You know, we're going to be making our own ice cream, and all homemade, house-made, all cream from Florida, no preservatives.
Good.
We're going to be making our lime and our orange. I remember that lime freeze too. We're not going to use artificial lime juice, so we're going to use the real deal.
I can't wait. I
Get
can't
ready,
wait.
boys and girls.
Listen, I got to
Our
try to make it
mouths
better
are
than you
watering
remember.
already.
Oh, man.
Robert, I know you didn't frequent Robocani's because we talked about that, you and I. But for those of us that remember going there and remember the line to get in there on a Friday or a Saturday, Robocani's ain't got nothing on Goody-Goody when it
Get used
opens
to that
up.
line.
Because you're gonna need to leave the house early.
You'll be taking a number.
Richard's going to have a problem because he's going to have to hire TPD off duty to come and do
Direct
traffic
traffic.
control.
Yeah.
You know, listen, we were there in Texas, in Arlington, when they opened up the first Krispy Kreme.
Yes.
And brother, I'm going to tell you, people that worked in Plano were coming all the way, and this is like 35 miles out of their way. Arlington police had to be there to work traffic control. It was amazing. So Stay tuned. Give us your lucky bulletin number.
37.
37. You got
Thank
it.
you, Robert. Happy holidays. We'll see you soon.
Thanks for calling, Robert.
Bye-bye.
See
what I mean?
I understand.
They're like this. They're like
Well, so
the
am I.
napkin.
So am I.
Becky, bring up those 3 pictures if you will. The first 3 pictures.
Yes, let's do this picture in picture, and maybe
is
Richard
great.
can show us what we're looking at. We're expecting hopefully a call from Andy Hughes, and if we don't get Andy's call in the next couple of minutes, read his
Goody,
email.
goody.
Please read his email. There you go.
That's before.
That's the way it looked when
That's the way it looked, right? And the building is it's a different
The
look
building's
now?
been torn down.
Right.
And I've
Where are you thinking of building?
Well, I've got 3 sites. And I was in negotiations today on 2 of them.
Okay, that was
And,
part of the 4 hours.
Yeah, that was part of the 2
working.
hours, and got a conference call on another one tomorrow. So
Okay.
I've whittled it down to 3, and it's going to be more or less close to where it was originally in the south part of Tampa.
Great.
And I think one of the areas that people will be surprised, but will say it's a perfect fit.
Yeah.
And I'm real excited about it. I
We
guess
are
you
too.
can't tell.
No.
You know what we're going to even do? We're going to make our own buns like they used to do.
Oh my God.
And so we're going to do a whole bakery with the pies, and
Oh, my
and so you
gosh.
can come in and just grab a pie to go, and it's just going to be so much
can't
fun.
wait.
We're going to do it the way they did things in the old days in 1925 when they opened up. There were no freezers.
No.
Wow.
You know, and we're going to be using fresh from Florida beef from Strickland Ranch. It's the highest quality that I use in Ulele. I mean, it's just going to be, it's got to be the best I can make it.
Wow.
my
So
God.
And then at a price, you know,
Oh
I
my
love breakfast, and it's hard to
too.
get a great
Like
breakfast.
breakfast.
It's hard to get great eggs.
Oh, no, I
so I've
know.
got an
It
Amish
is.
family. They're going to be
is.
providing me
no.
my eggs.
No.
Wow.
Yeah. Where the egg yolk is orange, I can't tell you.
Oh yes. There is a difference in the yolk too.
Yeah.
Yes,
Listen,
sir.
you know, when
there
you
is.
crack an egg and the white spreads, it's because
Yeah.
it's not fresh. When you crack one of the eggs we have, that white stays really close.
Oh,
Yeah.
And the yolk is tasty. So, I mean, these are the secrets I've been working on for a long time.
This is
Oh
why
my
Richard
gosh.
doesn't sleep.
They're not just any eggs.
No, it's not just any egg or just any ham or bacon or sausage. We're just doing everything. from scratch.
Everything's
ingredient
special.
will be
Mercy.
special.
Wow, we
That's
cannot
You know, if I
wait.
was excited about Ulele, you can't believe how excited I am about Goody-Goody.
And you
my
got
God.
2 other cards that you ain't showing tonight.
I can't show
you. Got,
you.
oh, you got home cards. You can't.
I want to talk about it too, but I can't.
Can you just?
I know one I would like to see come
Can
back.
you
but
whisper
I
a
won't
little
say.
bit about the thing that's happening at the airport, or is that you still can't say?
Well,
that?
right now, that's
Listen
the
to this,
process
guys.
for bidding, and we're involved with some groups, and the Tampa Airport Authority is going to select the contractors, and we're part of 2 groups. So, you know, the Columbia has been very successful. It was named the #1 best new restaurant in the United States after 6 months of operation. And after 1 year, it was named the 31st best restaurant in the world in airports. What a compliment.
Wow. That's,
So we're hoping
that's
to
incredible.
be selected again with the Columbia Cafe in there and some Columbia Expresses. But I'm also hoping to have the Goody-Goody inside.
Oh my gosh.
That'd be great.
Yeah, doing breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
my God.
Oh no,
and
you're
then
not.
and then doing also a Ulele, and I'm creating a coffee concept.
There it is.
Go head to head with the big guys. I
Wow.
love.
You really don't sleep, do
No,
you?
we do cafe con leche Ybor. And we're going to be doing the churros, frying the fresh churros.
No. Oh, no,
real
They talk about Cafe
real
Dumont.
churros.
Well, listen, we're going to do the churros.
Churros.
There. We're going to be doing them fresh in the curly cube.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
Oh my
I
gosh.
remember the old St. Lawrence School carnivals. They had the churros there.
Yes.
And they were my favorite at the time.
Oh my gosh.
Well, listen,
But I-
when people
I
talk about
love
lattes, but here it's cafe con leche, pan tostado with
Yeah.
Cuban toast,
Of course.
or churros, or guava pastries.
Oh.
Winner,
Sign us
chicken
up.
Shake it.
Sign
And
us
we're,
up.
and we're going to do a Cuban egg sandwich, a Cuban sandwich
I love
with
that.
egg, you know? Take off the pickle and the mustard.
I love that.
I've tested it. It's really good. with the ham, the pork, the
He
salami.
can hardly contain himself.
No,
and
listen,
he's
It's vibrating off the
us.
seat, boys and
I
girls.
wake up and my wife says, "You're saying put more pork in the sandwich." Like, what are you talking about?
Like,
She
I didn't
said,
say that.
In my dreams, I'm talking about the Columbia
Oh
and
my
the food.
gosh.
That's funny.
Okay,
actually.
before I say another word, and I will say other words, we have only 15 minutes left, so take it away.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
This is
Okay,
too
well, we
much
got to
fun.
go fast.
Yeah.
Shall we go to 4? 4 first? Caller, thank you so much for holding. You're on the air with the Tampa Native Show. Tell us your name and where you're calling from.
This is Bunny Pierce in Odessa.
Hey,
Hi,
Bunny
Bunny.
Pierce,
Hey,
how
Bunny.
are you?
All right. I just want to add my voice to the chorus to thank Mr. Richard for resurrecting the Goody-Goody. Because as I told you before, that was one of the 2 restaurants that my daddy would take us to.
Yes.
And I really hope you can find a really good pie baker, because that was the ice, the cherry on the top of the thing. And please make them use meringue instead of whipped cream.
We're going to use meringue. You know, I'll tell you a story. You talk about how great it was. Well, I remember I was a little boy in 1958. My brother tells my grandfather who lived in Colombia that Liga, he called him, why don't you hire a good cook like the cooks at Goody-Goody? Oh, boy. Boom. Yeah, boom.
That's a zinger.
Thank you, buddy. Can we get your Bolita number?
Yeah, let's do 28.
28 it is. Thank you so much. We appreciate your call.
Okay.
Thank you, buddy.
Bye-bye, buddy. You want to get that email real quick?
Let's do that.
I mean, because I'm feeling that Andy Hughes is not going to get in tonight.
That I know, it's flying by. Well, Andy Hughes, USS Special Collections, he writes, Richard, at one point in your life you wanted to fulfill the wishes of your father to expand the Columbia, opening more locations. Tell us about your thoughts, how they changed over time. But also he mentions that it seems like Caesar, your dad, would have adored Ulele. The concept, the location, the aesthetics. What would Caesar say about Ulele today?
My dad passed away 21 years ago on December 9th, 1992, and I miss him terribly. My mom had a massive stroke on that same December 9th, 2002. And so it's a kind of a blues, but my dad always told me, he made a lot of promises. I fulfilled every one except one. And I'm actually flying somewhere Monday to try to fulfill that one. That's one of the other big deals. Wow. But the thing is, he always said, son, if there's ever an opportunity along the water, and in Tampa, this great city to support us, don't be afraid to take that chance. And so my dad speaks to me from beyond. Wow. And I don't necessarily listen to what other people say or what studies say. Listen to what my dad talks to me and tells me. Where the Ulele project, some restaurant legends have told me, are you sure you want to do this? It's really going to be a destination restaurant. Nobody's going to find you. And somebody's found us.
Oh, yes.
Oh boy.
Many people.
So,
boy.
So I'm a person of great faith.
Sure.
And I think the Lord speaks to me. And I know my dad would be so proud. We're getting ready to build docks out there once the Army Corps of Engineers permits it, so that boaters can come in.
Oh, how great.
And my dad, 26 years ago, made me promise that when the Tampa Bay History Center ever came about, and he wasn't here, that had to be involved. So I built the Columbia Cafe.
Sure.
So we're on both ends of the Riverwalk.
Wow.
Where other people asked us, I made a promise to my dad. And to this day, I respect my dad, and I'm fulfilling every promise that's possible.
You're following your heart.
And I hope that my children will also follow.
I can't see how they won't.
What my dreams are.
I
That's
can't see how
awesome.
they won't. Thank you, Richard.
That's
That was
awesome.
amazing. Should we go to 5 or 4? 5 first. Here we go. Caller, you're on the air with the Tampa Native Show. Tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Jeanette Tamburello, calling from Tampa.
Hey,
Hi,
Jeanette.
how are you, Jeanette?
Welcome in.
Hi.
Is this your first time calling?
Yes, this is actually my first time watching.
Oh my goodness,
Two
Jeanette.
bells for that.
Well,
Thank
second
you so
welcome.
much for tuning us in this evening. I hope that you tune us in every Thursday. We'll be here at 7 o'clock going forward and hopefully forever and ever. Amen.
I sure would. I just had to tune in for Richard. I just had to tell him. Thank you so much for bringing us back Goody-Goody.
There you go. There you go. I mean, all the votes are in. Look,
Suddenly turned into.
I'm just as excited as you are. Believe me, I was such a fan. I had it on speed dial.
Let me tell you something else though. It's one of my earliest memories. Born and raised in Ybor City, right there on 21st Street, 2 blocks from your restaurant.
Right.
But Goody-Goody we used to go to every night. Often we would go driving down the street, no TVs in those days. We'd sing and have a good time as a family. We'd go to Goody-Goodies and have hot fudge sundaes. So I want to tell you this, Richard. I have 4, probably 6, maybe 8 original Goody-Goody hot fudge sundae glasses,
Oh my goodness.
There
Wow.
you go.
which I'd like to give back to you if you'd like.
Oh my goodness. I'd love to get together with you and have lunch one day.
They're authentic. They're real. I can't tell you how we got them.
No, I understand. I always love when people take souvenirs home with them as well. What I'd love to do is see them, and if we can't possibly recreate them.
I would love to give them back to you.
I would love to look at it. You're so kind, Jeanette, and I'd welcome that. So if we could find that same glass or have somebody make it for us, and did it have a logo on it by chance?
Oh, I don't remember.
Okay.
Jeanette, are we friends on Facebook? I believe we are.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm in Tampa Natives, I am.
Okay, well, reach out to us through our Tampa Native site, and we'll
Reach out.
put you in touch with Richard. No problem. That'll happen
Look
tomorrow.
me up on Facebook as well.
There you go.
Send him a
There
note.
you go. Absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Or Ulele or
If you want to find out the quickest what's happening in my world, it's very tastings. You get invited to a lot of fun days.
There you go. There you go. Jeanette, thanks so much for calling tonight, and we're so happy that you found us.
Thanks for your offer. That's wonderful, kind.
That's great.
And we need her Bolito number.
Yep. Can we get your lucky number between 1 and 75?
44.
44. Channel 44.
All
right?
around there.
Thank you, Jeanette. Thanks for calling.
Thank you.
Happy holidays. Call us anytime.
I will.
Bye-bye.
Got a couple more emails, too.
That's great.
A couple more Bolito numbers. We have Debbie and Rose.
Debbie and Rose.
Rose 54, Debbie 17, Angelo Ramori also number 7.
17.
So 1754 and Angelo 7.
Angelo 7, Angelo Ramori.
And Angelo Ramori, he wrote
Go ahead.
that sometime during the early 30s, his dad sold newspapers in front of the Columbia restaurant.
Oh, really?
Angelo's dad.
Oh, wow.
That was a hot spot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
I bet it
was
was.
the center of our universe in Ybor
54.
City. I mean,
It sure was.
You know what I mean? It was.
I remember people coming because the paper would be delivered around 10:30, the first edition. Back then they did an early one,
And
a later one.
And then the Tampa Times was even
yeah,
later in the
later,
afternoon.
yeah.
So, that's when it was all just tremendous. Yeah. We're trying to bring it back, y'all. We're trying. Between the Goody-Goody restaurant,
The good juju
Little Tampa
is
Native
coming
Show,
back.
and poor Ulele, she just kind of fell by the wayside tonight.
No.
No. I'm just saying
She's
because...
probably enjoying this.
Of course she is. She's driving the conversation.
And Richard and Rose Durant also mentioned that she loved the butterscotch pie.
People have said that, and they talked about a chocolate pie they loved and a coconut cream pie. And so if they would tell me some of their best memories, one item that I don't ever remember hearing about was the egg and olive salad sandwich.
Wait a minute. Say that again?
That sounds good. Actually.
Egg and olive salad sandwich. And
Almost
I went
like
and found
a
it.
muffalata, like
I
in
don't
New
know.
Orleans?
I found the menu and it's on there. That was one of my favorite sandwiches. So
How do you make that?
I don't know if the recipe's there yet. I got to look for it.
Okay.
Wow.
So you've got a mission out there, Tampa Native Show fans. The egg and olive salad.
Tell us what your
sandwich.
favorite item was
Okay, so
besides the hamburger.
That's
we
great.
got a phone call to go, and I've got my director yelling in my ear. She's literally yelling in
doing
my ear.
her
You've got
job.
6
Thank
minutes
you,
left.
Becky.
Thank you, Becky. I appreciate it. Let's go to the caller on line 4. Caller, you're on the air with the Tampa Native Show. You got about 2 minutes. Tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Hey, Mario, it's Rose and Debbie.
Hey, Rose and
Rose.
Devin.
Rose
We
and
just
Devin.
got your Bolita numbers. How are you, darling?
Great. Hey, Richard, just want to say thank you to you and your family for doing so much for the community. Born and raised here, have gone to your restaurant since I was small.
Well, thank you.
Happy you guys are getting together for the Goody-Goodies. After church, we used to go over to Florida Avenue. There was a old French, Frenchie's Big Boy restaurant.
Frishes.
There's a big boy.
Frischies, yeah.
Yeah.
It had the recipe, supposedly, of the Goody-Goody burger.
Oh, that's the one on Florida.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, they had a license agreement, and Mr. Wheeler, who owned Goody-Goody, would send him spices. They didn't know the exact recipe. Yeah, and I used to call him and said, listen, I'm trying to buy this from you, and these guys are destroying it. And so it was a ongoing battle, because at that time I was still trying to buy it.
Wow.
Yeah, that was a Forest Hills Diner.
Stay tuned, Rose. We got so much more to do. Thank you so much for calling. We've got your numbers, and I've got one more call before we get off the air with about 5 minutes to go. Thank you.
You guys have a nice Christmas.
Thank you. You
Merry
as well.
Christmas to you.
Thanks so much for calling.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And this will probably be our last caller of the night. Caller, thank you so much for waiting. You're on the air with the Tampa Native Show. Tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Charlotte Palmer from Riverview.
Hi,
Hey,
Charlotte.
Charlotte.
You got about 2
Charlotte.
minutes, darling. We're rapidly coming to the close of the show. What say you?
Anyway, I was just calling. Number one, I'm glad he's resurrecting the Goody-Goody.
Well, everybody is.
I remember as a kid, my mother would talk about going with her friends to Goody-Goody because they both worked for the state. They'd pick up sandwiches, go to Seton Island, and watch the boats come in. Now that's Harbor Island. And a couple decades later, I worked for the state. And when the Goody-Goody was open, I worked at 1313 Tampa Street, the state building across, and I would go get stuff from Goody-Goody. So it's like second generation Goody eaters and state employees. And I used to work with Jeanette Tamborello.
Oh, wow.
Oh, there it is. There it is.
It's all
There it is.
week on the Tampa Native Show.
Thank you. Well, Charlotte, can we get your Bolita number?
Do you have an 18?
Yes,
We
of
do
course.
have 18.
Yep, 18's available, darling. Thank you so much for sharing that wonderful memory. Stay tuned. You might win this autographed book tonight. And call us every Thursday. We're here at 7 o'clock.
Thank you. Oh, by the way, my son finally got his Eagle.
Yes, we were just going to ask you about that. Wonderful. Congratulations.
Tell him we said good job.
Great.
Okay, thank you.
Job well done. Bye-bye now.
Bye.
Okay.
Well, listen, I'm just going to
Did we
leave it
talk
at this.
about Ulele today? Because I think it was Goody-Goody show.
I know.
Richard, promise us.
When we open, we'll come back and we'll bring back a bag of Goody-Goody
There
burgers.
you
That's
go.
what I was just going to say. And promise it won't be another 4 years before we can get you back here. I know you're busy. I know because Arlen always tells me how busy you are.
You know,
but
I always have fun being here with you guys.
thank
And
you.
we have fun
Thank
when
you.
you're
We
here.
love having
Likewise.
you here,
And
man.
being here tonight's been a lot of fun.
Yes,
Listening
it
to so
has.
many of our loyal customers
Yes.
and friends. It's
From their
it's
heart.
great.
They're waiting. They're waiting like Christmas morning,
You know,
man.
I will let you all know first on your Facebook page on where we're going to do it.
Great. That'd be awesome.
That means a lot to us.
Yeah.
And I'm
Get those
honest what I'm
Foley
saying.
balls.
I'm looking for
I can't wait.
Goody-Goody tasting team members.
Oh,
Let us, you know, we
You know, I've talked
We've got
about
a
doing like
pulpit.
a pop-up restaurant one day, doing it and getting people to try the burgers and
That would
and
be
the
fun.
hand-dipped shakes and all.
that would be fun. Yeah. Wow.
huh? 2 minutes to go. You've heard it here first on the Tampa Native Show. Are you ready, darling?
I
Here we
are
go.
ready.
All right, Richard, if you'll reach in there and grab one. Pick us a good one, Johnny.
First-time callers typically win.
Yeah, first time
We don't know why,
callers do.
but it does.
So that would be Jeanette Tamburello?
That would be.
Dun, dun, dun.
All right, let's see.
dun.
No, that's no problem. 71.
71.
So it's got to be a real high number, like
Okay,
70 or
it's going to
69.
be Augustine Fraga.
Fraga.
with
Mr.
number
Fraga.
56.
Got it.
Augustine Fraga, you're going to get this autograph book. Get together with us, Augustine, and we'll meet you somewhere. Maybe at the Columbia. You can buy us a 1905
Oh, you
salad,
can
or
buy
you
us
can buy
one.
us a café con leche, or you can buy us a Cuban salad. Buy us a lot of stuff there, Rich. But we'll deliver this book to you. How's that? So thank you so much
great.
for...
I'm
Congratulations.
autographing it to him right now.
there you go.
Great.
Awesome.
Thank you, everybody, for watching. What a great show tonight. I can't believe how fast
flew
this
by.
show
Fun.
has
It
gone.
was so
Did
fun.
we get through everything? We didn't get to the Matilda...
The Matt Roman
the Matt
video.
Roman video.
No.
How
Next-
much? We
next
have 1
week.
minute to go. We
Yeah.
don't have time to show it now, but we will. And
Yeah.
Richard will come back and we'll have a chance to talk more about Ulele.
Season 16.
There you
Season
go.
16.
That's right.
So listen, we're going to hold this man to it. And who knows? Maybe Goody-Goody will be a sponsor of the Tampa Native Show.
That's
Doesn't
right.
that
Should be,
seem?
should be.
Yeah,
That'd be-
doesn't that seem like it would be a natural?
perfect fit.
Richard, did you have fun tonight?
Had a great time.
Wow.
Thank you.
Oh man.
Thank you,
We
Richard.
love having
This is
you
this
here.
is a
Thanks so much.
extreme pleasure for us. Everybody, grab your cups. Let me just say, what a treat it is to have our studio audience here with us tonight. Mike Baluha just off camera, and of course, thanks Bob Carter also for being there. For our crew that puts this together each and every week, I just like to say, that's Tampa, Steve. This is the 15-Minute Girl, Steve Canella and Sally Nunez. I'm Mario Nunez. On behalf of our guest, Richard Gonzmart, salud and happy days. We love you, Tampa.
Yes, we do.
Sing it, Mike.
We'll see you next week. Gracias, Richard.
Thank you.
Back when we were younger and everything seemed new, we used to have a lot of fun, yes we did, no matter what we do. Sleepy days, long summer nights, going anywhere we please, with love that I could call my own, love that I've always known, the city that I call my home, a home from which I never roam. This love affair was meant to be. I love her and she loves me. I remember Tampa, oh, she remembers me. She remembers me. I remember, yeah, yes I do. Oh, I remember, yeah, me and you. I'm a Tampa native, Tampa native, can't you see? I will share my story with you to preserve its history.
All right now, don't forget, Thursdays, 7 p.m. on TBCN, home of the Tampa Native Show.